Oh no.
All right. Praise the Lord, everybody.
Praise the Lord.
I'm your host, Minister Dennis Jackson. This is my wife, Stephanie, and this
Hello.
is Choose to Love Ministries. And I thought today we would talk with the election right around the corner. They
Mhm.
just had the second debate, that we would talk a little bit about politics. And I heard something that really struck me that um, there's a large group of African American, a lot of black males are voting and supporting Donald Trump. And I said, man, that don't even make sense to me. But it turns out that indeed a lot of blacks are supporting Donald Trump. In fact, I did my own investigative reporting, and even some people that I know and admire think that Trump is at least as good, if not better, than Joe Biden. And a lot of this is because he did do a few things that were on the positive. Early on, he did something with prison reform. I forgot exactly what he did.
He gave to the HBCUs, but I don't know if. Well, go ahead, finish what you're
Well, I
saying.
was saying he did something with prison reform. He gave to the historically black colleges. So he made some light effort towards African Americans. And like you said, what have you got to lose? And the truth is that both the Democratic running mates are problematic. Joe Biden did sign the crime bill. Kamala Harris incarcerated about 150,000 African
Wow,
American
that's a
males
lot of
in
people.
California. So a lot of folks are like, I just can't vote for them because they feel, and let's face it, the crime bill was devastating to the black community.
Hmm.
So you could argue that Trump hasn't directly affected the lives of black people to the extent that Joe Biden had. Now, he was horrible with the Central Park Five.
Yes.
He certainly, with him and his father both, were taken to court for not allowing blacks to live in their apartment buildings or denying blacks the chance to live in their apartment buildings. But so it's almost a wash, other than by putting so many judges in and all of them um, white males, you could argue that he's setting up the system against us. So I was really surprised to hear uh, that about there's so many blacks who are thinking of voting for Trump because I think Trump has been difficult at best. But
Well, let me just say this
yeah,
about in terms of both candidates. What I think is, when I look at the Black Power movement and look at Black Lives Matter, and I see the amazing things that they have done and the persistence that they have
shown, yeah.
shown. Yes, thank you. I'm I would love us to take that same power that we have and maybe look at other ways where we can have our own government, our own system, our
Wakanda for
own,
life.
yeah, our
Yeah,
really our
Wakanda.
own Wakanda,
Yeah, right.
truly, because I think that both candidates really, when I was listening to the debates, and I do honor Joe Biden. I think former Vice President Biden, I don't think that if I'm not certain if we would have had a President Obama
His support
if
was
we
crucial
didn't
to
have
the
we
success.
might have anyway,
Yeah.
but he did lend that support, which was great, and I think that that was important for our people to see that at the highest level of land, highest office in the land, and the presidency is a powerful position, and I was so glad that President Obama did it, and President Obama and First Lady Michelle, they did such an awesome job. There's such a spirit of excellence throughout the presidency, both terms rather. So I really am grateful for that. I think that
Which I think
what
is
I
why Clyburn supported him. It's kind of
right.
a reward for his support of
Well, it
Obama.
was a
Clyburn.
support to say, this person made a lot of things happen for African American people that would not have happened
Right.
otherwise. But in terms of VP Biden, what I do like about him is that he is somewhat repentful. I think that
Yeah.
when you can recognize, man, I did something wrong in this
He,
situation.
he did
I need to
apologize
correct
out
it.
loud. Yes, he did.
So, he tried to correct the situation even when Kamala had addressed him about the busing issue, was
Mhm.
something that I raised in school about busing, and You know, one of the professors at UNM said there's no busing here in New Mexico, which she was proud to let me know in my face, you know, that there's, you know, we don't have any busing here, which, you know, I couldn't figure out what she was trying to say. But what I will say in terms of VP Biden is that I just pray for both candidates. I pray for that our country can get back to a place where we have some normalcy, where we have, I don't really need the presidency to be quite that, you know, wow, animated all the time. We need a little calm. So, you know, I think that's kind of important. I think competence is important. I think somebody saying, owning up to something and saying, you know, I could have done this better, or let's do this better, is a little more important than saying, you know what, I don't apologize for anything. I don't take no responsibility for nothing. I don't, you know, it is what it is. So people are dying, whatever. I don't really like that attitude at all. I'm deeply concerned about people that are that thoughtless, because these are souls, these are human beings, and they have families, and it's very painful what they're going through. And we don't know enough about the virus, where we don't know what the long-term effects of the virus are going to be, and we need to be appreciative of supporting our scientific community, so because they're trying to help,
Well,
you know.
even that, in fairness to the president, he made a terrible start. He just did. He was just really not great. However, having said that, I heard Obama in one of his speeches, he's campaigning for Vice President Biden, and he said, to tell the truth, it would have been difficult for any
Yes, it would.
administration.
It truly would.
It would have been difficult for any administration. And even in places like New York and New Jersey, which got hit the hardest first, did their best to squash it down, tamp it down. Right now, today, they're also having a third, I guess it's a third wave or second wave.
More than one wave
So
coming. Gee whiz.
it's really devastating, and shutting down the whole economy all over again. That doesn't seem to be a practical solution.
That's scary in
So
itself. Yeah.
I actually don't know what at this point what the right thing to do, other than what they said all along: wear a mask, wash your hands, social distance. But as far as right now,
But if you do that nationally,
right, he should make it a national policy.
you
Yeah.
have too many people that are making it a partisan issue, and it's really not. It's not whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. Just you're a human being. You breathe out germs. Even your small children, you need to put on a mask. Maybe a small baby, that would be very difficult. But small children, put on a mask. Adults, everyone, put a mask on. Social distance 6 feet. Just be respectful and be caring. That I don't want to. I don't know if I have it, and I don't want to spread it to you, and I don't want you to spread it to me. So I'm staying safe, and I'm doing things to make you safe. There's, so those are things that you can do that to help with the virus until we do learn more about it, and support the scientific, and be prayerful that we would get wisdom on how to combat this virus and get on with our lives, to the point that so we're not. Every time I was walking outside one day, and I was like, oh my God, what is going on? There's something I'm forgetting. Oh Lord, I forgot my mask. I had to go right back inside to get my mask on. I forgot it. But I wasn't near anyone, but just that it's a new normal now. You can't go outside without a mask. Not in New Mexico, you can't go out without a mask.
Most places,
really.
Although every now and then you'll see somebody or groups of somebody
you'll see people
with no mask on, and like they're almost defiant about it.
Yeah, it's like,
I was in a gas station, the guy was like, "I bumped the virus. I don't care." He said it out loud. Bump the virus. The lady was like, "You gotta wear a mask, sir." He just walked right by her. He was like really jerky about it, but and a lot of people feel that way because depending on what they're listening to, different news station, who they're listening to.
That's another thing. You can, do your own research about, information rather than just get to one source. I do mostly look at MSNBC, but sometimes I look at CNN. I rarely look at Fox News.
I watch Fox on Sunday morning because I feel.
And I watch it with him when he watches it. But I rarely watch it.
Well, I feel you have to hear what the other side is talking
about. Of
course,
yes.
Otherwise, you have no clue what they're saying because sometimes they mention stuff and you're like, what? What are they talking about?
And you only hear somebody else's perspective. You don't want to be
Right.
so narrow-minded. Oh my gosh, that I only want my perspective all the time. Well, that's not real.
In fact, I find myself torn. I work in a private prison, right? and Bernie Sanders got Biden to commit to closing down private prisons. Well, that affects me personally.
Yes, it
So,
does.
so I'm like, if
That's
they
us
close a private
personally.
prison, what does that mean about my job? And I heard even at the last debate, he said he was going to end fracking. Now, in New Mexico, it's something like 70% of their budget comes from the oil industry and fracking, and the same thing in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Texas,
But wasn't
Oklahoma.
it President
Same.
Obama the person that actually, started to open up the door for fracking?
He did,
So,
but now with the environmental group, and I don't want to do like a lot of Republicans say where they go AOC, but what I will say is with their big push towards environmental, and I agree, climate change is real. I'm not saying it's not real.
totally real.
It
Yeah.
is real,
Mhm.
but to say we're going to end your job. So if you live in Pittsburgh, they have the same issue. They have a fracking plant that has 1,000 jobs. It supports the school system for the whole county. So when you say you're going to end that, you're talking about people's job. Where am I going to work at? And once you get a certain age, like me, I'm about to be 64. I'm not really ready to change into some new career. I'm fumble fingered on the computer. You know what I mean? I can't do it. I failed computers for dummies, so I don't belong. I
you're not
can't.
that bad,
I can't relearn.
man.
I can't. I have to retire. So this, when they talk that way, and I do understand we have to gradually shift. I'm not even
Yes.
saying that.
I think that's
There's
more
some
what
points.
President VP Biden was trying to say, is that there will be a gradual shift. It's not going to be tomorrow.
Right,
You know what I mean? It's not tomorrow. It's we need to gradually get into more of a green economy, and I think that'll be very important. Because if it's a gradual, and you'll replace it with something, I don't think you should take their job and don't give them anything. Replace it with something else. Make it gradual. Like it says, people that are in their 60s, maybe they can figure out something like some kind of a package for them, so that they can, retire with dignity. There's a
Right.
way to do it where you don't have to be so abrupt. We do have wisdom and knowledge on how to transition from things. We can transition. It's
Right.
something we can do. We can do this. This is not difficult or hard. So anyway, those are my thoughts about the.
Yeah, so we're going to close, but I mean, the part about Wakanda, to some degree, that makes sense. I'm just going to say that I do think that the real problem is neither major party really represents
No.
African Americans. What they're after is to take and protect themselves, which is all right. That's what people do. But we need our own. I wish that we could get Jay-Z, Oprah, Jordan,
All of the
all of them,
millionaires.
Magic, all of them,
Million
Tyler
and
Perry,
billionaires, black
Will
people.
Packer, get them all together, and they buy some land somewhere. I don't know if they could go
I
back
don't
to
even know if they would have the mind to, because they've been benefiting from
so
this
much here.
situation.
But
That's what I was trying to say about the candidates. It's taking a long time to say it, but thank you for reminding me. What I was trying to say is they don't understand the issues with systemic racism. Neither candidate understands it. Not really. One doesn't even care.
I think Biden is sympathetic.
But Biden
to it.
is sympathetic,
he's
but I don't think
sympathetic.
I don't think
The other one not so much.
he
But I
stopped
do
the
think,
sensitivity training for
yeah,
the FBI, so
yeah,
he
I
doesn't
think
care.
Biden is sympathetic,
So-
but that's the whole country is aware now because of George Floyd and the different things that happened. So now everybody's they're like, oh my God! But to tell the truth, we've been saying
we've been
this
dealing with that
harassment
forever.
has been happening forever. They now have learned about the talk. We've been having a talk since I was 5. So everybody has a talk. We've always had it, and the white folks like, really, y'all have to do that? Yes,
Yeah.
we do. We have to say that
Every time we have to be
because
conscious
if I
and
make
aware.
a fast, if a cop pulls me over and I suddenly go, oh, my wallet. What? He's reaching for a gun. Bang!
We have to keep our hands on
we
the
have to,
steering
yes
wheel.
sir, no sir, just to survive the encounter. It doesn't mean how wrong the officer is or what's going on. If you give him any hint of resistance or frustration, he can wipe you out. And they have the body cameras, the car camera, but half the time, for some reason, the officer's body camera never works. The car camera never works. The only reason they're getting caught is because everybody's got a cell phone.
Right.
So private citizens have the camera and they're filming them. In fact, I remember one, it was so funny. The black guy was running from the police. Cop shot him in the back. Then he walked up and took
Planted evidence.
planted evidence on the guy. And the only reason he got caught is because some dude was in the bushes filming him, because that's what's happening now is
Thank
they're being
God for that
filmed
soul that
because
was
but
watching.
their own
Oh
body
Lord.
cameras and stuff that never seem to work. So this has been going on a long time. So my thinking is that if we get enough people together, and maybe like Lincoln had originally intended, Marcus Garvey, maybe I'm not saying we have to go back to Africa per se, but I don't know where we could go that we could really establish a country for ourselves. Not that others couldn't come, but that we could be truly free. And
Right,
I
yeah, so
know,
we don't have to,
yeah,
because at some point is, we're coming to the point that, acceptance, it's just not going to accept us.
right,
So,
there's certainly some undercurrent of
we
that. And
gotta just accept it,
there's some undercurrent of that. It certainly is. I'm not sure what the solution. I know as children of God, we trust in God, and we know that heaven will one day be our home.
Yes.
But while we're here, we have to try to do the
Occupy
best
till
we
he
can.
comes.
Occupy till you come. We have to do the best we can to be good to husbands, fathers, wives, Christians, and to make society a better place. Uh, and I just don't know if they'll ever allow us to have true equality in America. Although I'm going to strive for it. So having said that, we will keep praying, and we pray for you all. Vote if you got to stand. We stood in line. It was only about an hour and
About
a
an hour or so.
half. Yeah, about an hour and a half. It wasn't
Yeah,
that
it wasn't
bad.
that bad.
And I know there are places where people are standing in line for 8 hours, 11 hours, which is just ridiculous. Seems to me, if they really had good policies, they wouldn't have to block people from voting. Just have better policies. But since you won't have good policy, and then your solution is, they're not going to like what we got to say, so let's see if we can stop them from voting. Let's mess up the mail. Let's do, which is, come on, it's the mail. It's bananas. What are you doing? Although part of me thinks what they're really after is, like I said, my wallet's Republican, my heart is Democratic. I think what they really want to do is just privatize mail. And this is just a roundabout way to get to making mail completely private, where you'll just be paying the mailman and postman directly for the mail, and it won't be a government function. That's what I actually think is what they're after. But I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. So anyway, God bless.
God
Lord
bless
willing,
you.
we'll see you again in 2 weeks. And vote.
Vote. And pray, vote.
Yeah, pray and
Yes.
vote.